Hello, hello, it's Tuesday. It's noon. I'm here. A guest will be joining me soon. We have Tracy from Brecca Strong. I'm really excited to talk to her a little bit more about her story and her platform and what she's up to. And I'm hoping she'll be joining any second. Hello, there you are. Let me see how I do this, because every time I have to learn again. It's astonishing. There. Old dog, new tricks, I'm slow here. Thanks for following along, Kate. There we go. Tracy, I just invited you from Tracy the Previver. Did you want to join from Brecca Strong? I'm going to try that. There we go. I think this is going to work. It's always so good when it does. Amazing. Hello.
Good morning.
How are you? Oh, it looks like the internet is being a little bit slow. Maybe it'll catch up. There you go.
Okay. How's
Awesome.
everything?
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thanks so much for having me on today.
Yeah, of course. So can you just do a quick little intro? I think it's been a while since we connected. I know we featured you on Brilliantly when we started like over a year ago. And it would just be nice to have a reminder about who you are, what you're up to.
Perfect. Sounds good. Well, I'm Tracy. I'm the founder of Brecca Strong. Brecca Strong was created based on my own personal journey about 5 years ago, and we've grown national over time. We're so excited that we were able to fund women post-mastectomy garments and help them feel whole again. So a little bit about myself is I'm 18 years old when I had my first lumpectomy, which was benign. Again, at 19, I had another lumpectomy, which was benign. And then at the age of 21, they found another mass. They wanted to do a lumpectomy. And I'm like, what are my options? So I went over my options, found out that I was a candidate for genetic testing. And at 21 years old, I found out I was BRCA positive and went under surveillance until I was 32 and was done childbearing and having children, and figured I would go ahead and move ahead and take surgical action. So from there,
that's amazing.
Just learning as technology's changed and all the information and the data, the BRCA gene was found in 1994. I was diagnosed in 2004. So there really wasn't a lot of evidence or information on like whether to take medication. Like back in 2004, they were pushing tamoxifen. And I just felt, my grandmother was estrogen positive. I'm like, let's just go under close surveillance. And every 6 months I had scans, for the rest of my life until I turned 32.
Yeah, I found that process to be so taxing, the constant scans, and my physician wanted my BMI to be 18, which felt impossible. I was also having children during that time of getting monitored, and it really felt like every single part of my life was being ruled by going to get scans, waiting for results, going to the doctor's appointment. How did you manage that emotionally over like basically a decade, right?
Yeah. So basically in 21, it was very overwhelming. It was very hard to face. I wanted children, right? So here I am now. At the time I was dating somebody, but I wasn't thinking marriage. I was thinking, let's live life. I'm 21 years old, start my career. And I really wasn't able to focus on that. Had to focus and take the shift and say, let's rush life and keep moving forward. And that's what I did. And mentally, it was so challenging because there wasn't any support groups. There wasn't any data. It was still being discovered. So
Right.
as times have changed and we've learned so much more of like what we can do either surgically or preventative and take surveillance, we talk about anxiety, right? Like how much anxiety did we have every time we were going to the doctor?
Yeah, of course.
That's what it led up to is it changed your purpose of now living in fear of what was going to happen from these scans and moving forward and waiting for the phone call or the results. And I'm sure you can relate, right? We didn't get our results the same day.
No, never. And I'm also thinking, about your insurance. Do you mind my asking? It was a constant battle the trying to get things covered and paying for things and figuring out. I switched jobs a few times during then, having kids. You know, there was just so many life changes that happened during that time for me. And the day that they found my first lump, which was found through an ultrasound. I had an ultrasound, then an MRI, then a biopsy, then another MRI. It was a $12,000 day that my insurance didn't cover. I just finished paying that payment plan last year.
And that's the thing, right? Like financially, it puts us in debt. Like, and what's happening, yes, there's different laws out there and acts out there that cover what we need, but the financial responsibility adds up. You know, how many patients do we know that carry a genetic mutation, right? That can't, let alone afford a mammogram sometimes, now have to go see the dermatologist, right? Now have to get screenings for pancreatic cancer. They have to get cardiac or melanoma. You know, it's just a constant follow up, and financially it's so hard. And really there's not a lot of funding out there for people who take preventative action. You know, Christina Applegate has an amazing foundation for MRIs, but there's nothing else out there, you know, for the continuous surgeries or battles that we continue to face that don't end. I mean, I'm diagnosed 2004, we're in 2020, you know, over a decade things have changed, but not as much, unfortunately, as we'd like to see, especially from, I think, from a survivor or provider side of the cost. The cost is astronomical on top of what we pay. You know, for example, myself, I have private insurance. So I'm paying an astronomical amount, and then I have a deductible and a co-insurance. So where's the in between for all of us, and how do we catch up and mentally live in a clear mind state?
Right. I think that's such a huge part of it is, you know, one, it's the anxiety of dealing with going and finding out potentially bad results, or, you know, inevitably at some point, probably some bad results given a genetic mutation. And then wondering if you can even afford to go, and or which ones you're picking and choosing to go to in any given year. And I think you're right that there is such a huge lack of funding for women who are taking preventative action. And even the follow-ups, you know, I think thankfully there are programs, everything from childcare to getting rides if you actually are in cancer treatment. But what happens for the follow-ups? What happens to the previvors and to people who just need increased screening? I'm hopeful that as time goes on, that will improve, because I think that added level of stress also affects our health in a negative way.
100%. And that's the thing, is these bills add up. And like you said, what if somebody needs to go to the dermatologist and they can't afford it? You know, you just let something add up and then it's caught at a later stage. Like, where's the middle ground? And I think right now that is a battle for a lot of providers or people who are just starting their process of getting genetic testing. Like, do we really know what we're getting ourselves into when we do genetic testing? Is everybody told? Like I could say again, you know, finding out my results in 2004, nobody told me, oh, now you're at risk for melanoma, now you're at risk for pancreatic cancer. And nobody really talks about the what ifs later on once you find out you have a genetic mutation.
Yeah, or even thinking about guiding you through the process to say, like, you should get life insurance before you have this test, and you like really shepherding you through what's the best case scenario. And a lot of that is financial decisions. You know, when you were talking, I was just remembering I had to have a mole removed from my right butt cheek, and it was this tiny little mole. I didn't even know I had it. It went to pathology. She called me with the results that it was fine, but that it was something they were really happy they removed. And then I had all these stitches, and it was going to be $120 for me to go get the stitches removed. And I literally had a friend take the stitches out of my butt cheek, because I was like, I just paid $600. Like, I can't keep doing this. And that's like, you know, a pretty low risk thing to do, I think, knock on wood. But, you know, those decisions get made all the time by people in our community. And I think the more noise we make and the more we talk about it and the more we let people know that that's such a huge part of what the experience is, that's the only way for someone to help figure out solutions.
Right. And, you know, like knowing your options, you know, like you said, knowing what you're getting into, knowing what's going to happen, you know, knowing that the journey can be 1, 2, 3, or some of our journeys are longer. Some of them just don't end. Some of them last longer than others, but knowing your options, like breast reconstruction, right? Big prime example. Women are not given all of their options on breast reconstruction. You're given, here's implants, here's direct to implant. But if that surgeon A doesn't do flaps, you're not told about flaps. But yet if you go into a group and somebody's like, well, get a second opinion, then you're told all your options, but now you have two different doctors. How do you balance? Where do you go?
Right.
And I think that there's no gold standard for breast reconstruction.
No, totally. And I think, in the past couple of years, and we've featured both of these, and I think one of them we are posting about tomorrow or the next day, just a woman in the community who was like, here is the glossary of terms. And then a physician who made an illustrated guide to the different kinds of reconstruction, because your surgeon is going to tell you what they know how to do and what they know how to do best, right? Like, because they're just people and they're like, well, I've done this more and I think I'm going to have better results for you with this thing. But of course, it's important to know and understand what all of the options are. So I feel really, I'm delighted to know you, and I think what you're doing is so important and great. And I think there are so many women like you who are trying to just improve these little things where they can, and whether that's a glossary of terms or being part of groups of women who talk about what's available, or connecting to women who are newly diagnosed with cancer or a mutation. But that's, we're making such micro progress. But I feel hopeful that we're in a time where it's going to continue.
I definitely feel hopeful that things will change, but when we talk about breast reconstruction, will there ever be a gold standard? I don't think so, because every surgeon does something so different, right? Like, you hear of all these options, but it's like, which option do you go with? Because you could see two people who do D-flap, but they're on totally different pages.
Yeah.
So it's like, is there technically a gold standard of care for breast reconstruction for women who have mastectomies? And it's not just, survivors, it's survivors, it's metastatic, it's thrivers, it's everybody across the board. We really should have one glossary, right? Just like you said, an index where you can go and type in mastectomy and this is what comes up from A to Z. But yes, it's time consuming, but maybe that's what women need to come together to realize, like, we are on the same team and everybody has different journeys, but this is the way it should go. And here's 100 women who see it this way from A to Z, and help other women, because we all have groups out there. We're all supportive of one another. But again, wouldn't it be nicer to just have one platform across the board that shared everybody's information and shared these details?
Yeah, I think, it's so important. And you and I were chatting, I think it was yesterday or the day before, about this IG Live, just in DMs, and talking about the product that I'm making, the Brilliantly Warm, which fits into any bra, is controlled by an app. And really early on, I got connected with this physician who's at the University of Chicago, and she's doing the very first study ever on breast functionality as it relates to reconstruction. So they're studying this issue around sensation and coldness, and I think there's 4 data points they're collecting on, but the intention of that study is to sort of lay the foundation for how we change reconstruction to maintain, like some man invented breast implants to feel like boobs. They don't feel like boobs to us. It's like having a foreign object in your body. And it's just now that female physicians and patients are coming together to say, this could be better and we need to change this together. And I really feel like, I hope within my lifetime, within our lifetime, that there are better, different options that don't require you like chopping up your whole body or putting a foreign object in there to feel the way you want to feel and to look the way that you feel most comfortable in your body.
Definitely. I mean, I know your products are absolutely amazing. You have helped our girls so much. Last year, our fashion show, we remember all the bras that you donated to the women that were in it, and they love them and talk highly about them. I definitely look forward to your new product coming. I know that women who have cold breasts, from the implants really do suffer sometimes. And I know through our boutique and through Dr. Strong, we've actually helped a couple of women with that, because of the fact that it can change you, like at a hockey game, right? You're sitting at a hockey game. I'll never forget the first hockey mom that years ago, the bra's no longer around, but the mom like swore by the bra. She was a hockey mom, and she's like, no, this is amazing. She's like, this has changed my life. You know how many women's lives you're going to change because of the product itself. And again, women should we go through this process no matter what we do, whether we lose something that's part of us.
Yeah.
And with that little piece of cloth next to our body helps us.
Yeah, I think, I'm really, it started out as me trying to make something for myself, and I've connected to so many different people. And, we're about to enter some new phases of testing as we get towards launch. And it's just, there was a woman who put it on and cried. And so this is the first time I felt comfortable in my body since I had reconstruction. And even just that one woman made me feel like, it's just worth doing. The best thing we can do is go through this kind of experience and continue to help each other and to improve the future for women who are going through it. So, thanks for being part of that tide change.
No problem. Thank you for creating, bras that we need. And, a lot of women don't even know about post mastectomy, right? How many women do you probably hear from that are like, your bra saved my life? Because we don't know these products are out there. And that's, one big reason I have BRCA Strong is I will never forget coming home from the hospital 5 years ago and having nothing for my drains. I'm like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
where do I go? Where do my drains hang? I have 2 little kids. I don't want to sit there. I didn't know about any products.
Yeah.
And as I healed and as time got better and I was working out, I wanted a nice bra to be able to wear to the gym or just to be able to wear out. And knowing that these products are out there and somebody like you who's been through our situation can feel what we're going through and put your heart and soul and compassion into creating something to help other women and to empower them within themselves, right? Because if you
Yeah.
can't empower yourself, you can't empower others.
Right.
So empowering other women at the same time is just truly a blessing, I think, for all of us.
Well, thanks. And just so people know where to find you, you do have a shop. There's so much cool stuff that you're working on. Where's the best place for women to reach you?
So you can find us on BRCA Strong, BRCA Strong, on Instagram, on Facebook, and we also have a boutique called Unbreakable Boutique, which is on Instagram as well. And
Awesome. We'll link to it in the caption here so people can find you. And thanks for taking the time to chat with me today. It was great to catch up.
So much. Thanks so much for having me on.
All right, awesome. Have a great day, Tracy.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.